As Mike was getting ready to head home, he got a cryptic message from an unknown number. Scranton Hotel, room 248. Now, when he arrived at the hotel and knocked on the door, a man opened it. "It's not room service, Amelia. It's your husband," the man said, and it seemed as if the rug was pulled from under Mike's feet. Amelia was cheating on him. Before I tell you what happened here, please subscribe to our channel and click on the notifications bell so you never miss out on our new cheating stories. Mike and Amelia had been married for 12 years and had 2 kids, Jake and Allison. They met at a law firm, back when Amelia was a young intern fresh out of college and Mike was a junior associate. They tried to fight the attraction, as neither one of them wanted a workplace relationship, but their feelings were too strong. Less than a year later, they got married. And another year later, they already had their first child. Amelia took a break off work to be a stay-at-home mom, and she loved it. It was then that she realized that she wasn't as ambitious as she'd previously thought. A couple of years later, they had another child. When Jake started school and Allison started daycare, Mike began to pressure Amelia to go back to work. He wanted the best for his kids, and that included the best private schools and the best college. Given his wife's education, he knew that she could bring in a good income and believed that it was only fair for her to take on a part of the financial responsibilities. It was probably about the time when resentment settled in Amelia's soul. She loved staying home, taking care of the kids, and tending to her garden. Going back to work wasn't what she wanted, but she knew it was unfair to have her husband shoulder all the financial responsibilities. She found a job at an up-and-coming small law firm. The long hours spent away from home and business trips to their parts of the country put a strain on their family. Eventually, Mike and Amelia started growing apart. Their conflicting schedules made it nearly impossible for them to even see each other. They did make it a point to celebrate important dates as a family, such as their kids' birthdays and Christmas, but it wasn't nearly enough. When Mike finally realized that no amount of money was worth losing his family over and suggested that Amelia should go back to staying home, she no longer wanted it. Something has changed. She has changed. She became more distant and detached, even from the kids. Mike couldn't help but wonder if it had anything to do with Chris, a young partner at her firm whom she'd been working with very closely. He tried to brush off his suspicions, but instead he'd become obsessed with the idea. He shared his thoughts with his best friend, Paul, and even considered hiring a private detective, but he wasn't sure if he was ready to take the step. A month later, he didn't need to anymore. As Mike was getting ready to head home, he got a cryptic message from an unknown number. Scranton Hotel, room 248. Now, when he arrived at the hotel and knocked on the door, a man opened it. It was Chris, the same man Mike was worried about. "It's not room service, Amelia. It's your husband," the man said. As Amelia came to the door, with a robe loosely covering her naked body, it seemed as if the rug was pulled from under Mike's feet. He was right. Amelia was cheating on him. He burst into the room, blind with rage. Mike tried to take a swing at Chris, but he dodged it and quickly ran out of the room, barely managing to grab his clothes on his way out. "How could you do this?" Mike screamed. "How could you betray our family? Why?" "What do you mean, why? Have we been living in the same house? We've been nothing more than roommates for a very long time. We've been working, the both of us, and even so, that doesn't give you the right to cheat. You should have talked to me. We could have figured something out. You could have quit your job. I could have done all that? Why me? Why couldn't you? Didn't you see what was happening to us?" "I'm not the only one to blame here." Amelia was livid. "Yes, you are. Because you are the only one cheating, and what's worse, it doesn't look like you feel bad about it. But you will. Mark my words, I will make you regret it." Mike stormed out. He walked around the city for hours until he ended up at a bar. He had to make Amelia pay, but he had no proof of her infidelity. Why didn't he hire that private investigator? Who was he trying to protect? Mike kept beating himself up. Eventually, he got a cab and went home. Amelia wasn't there. Most of her things were gone too. It was the end, but Mike wasn't ready to just let it go. At the very least, he was going to fight her for custody. He called Paul and asked him to come over. When Mike told him everything and how he regretted never acting on his suspicions and getting proof, Paul said something he least expected to hear. "I have all the proof you need." "I'm sorry, man. It was me. I was the one who sent you that text." "How? What did you do?" "I knew you wouldn't do anything about your suspicions, so I hired a private investigator. I have pictures, receipts, phone calls, everything. I also have a name of a good family attorney. I want to be mad at you for going behind my back, but at this point, I'm really grateful, Paul. I need everything you have. Amelia will pay for her poor choices." Mike contacted the lawyers and passed on all the information he had. Since Amelia had no idea that Mike had proof of her infidelity, she was sure the divorce would be pretty straightforward. It was a mistake. Thanks to Paul, Mike managed to get most of their shared assets and custody of the kids in the divorce. Since both parents had been working for the past couple of years, and it was mostly the nanny who took care of the kids, the judge felt like their father would be a better influence on them and ruled in his favor. All Amelia got was visitation rights and one weekend every month. But that wasn't enough for Mike, however. Sure, she lost her family and her home, but it was clearly a risk she was willing to take when she got involved with Chris. Mike wanted to ruin her, and he wanted to make Chris pay as well. Since they both worked at a small firm that was only gaining its momentum in the business world, Mike knew it wouldn't survive a media scandal, so that was exactly what he decided to do. Young partner breaks up a family by sleeping with his associate. Lawyer power couple, broken up by an up-and-coming young lawyer. Lawyer steals wife and mother of two. What else would he steal? Mother of two chooses her career over her kids. Does it count as sleeping your way to the top if the top is pretty low? The yellow press had a field day with all the pictures and gory details. The best Chris could do was lay low for a while and move to another city to start over. Amelia, on the other hand, didn't even have that option, as she wasn't ready to abandon her kids completely. She became a pariah in the business world, and even her family disowned her. All she had left were her kids, whom she barely ever got to see. Meanwhile, Mike got even more clients, as he was now seen as a single father of two who had the courage to expose his wife for who she was. What do you think? Was Mike right, or did he take his revenge too far? Share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like this video and share it with your friends. Thanks. See you soon.